Step one, Wade says we need to talk. Glen walks, you say sit down, it's just a talk. He smiles politely back at you. You cannot tell cause you're on Zoom. Some sort of windscreen to your right. Headphones go left, turn on your mic. Between the line, too loud, too faint. You begin to wonder why you came. Where did I go wrong? Right. I watched the show. Why had the music? No one knows. And
I guess we should get going.
Yeah, we have 3 episodes to cover, you lunatics.
Oh, it's and we're not doing a triple length episode. No fucking way.
Well, no, we're doing.
I'm going into excruciating detail.
Look, I took notes. The last.
I don't remember anything that happened.
Yeah.
Well,
it's okay.
Let's.
All right. I'm gonna do a countdown.
Yep.
And then we will. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Where did I go wrong? I watched the show.
Did you guys clap? Did I not hear?
Sure
Because
did.
we were so synced up. Because we're like,
That's exactly.
we're a well-oiled machine podcasting about Star Trek.
We haven't lost a goddamn step aside from the fact that we were.
That's right.
It's been 3 episodes since this fucking season started.
Well, this episode started with 1 episode, and then another episode the same night. So I mean, and then.
Right.
Yeah, we can't contend with a double.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was trying to get you to podcast 6 months before the episode started, but turns out that's not feasible.
Yeah, Glenn loves One Piece, doesn't believe in piracy.
Yeah.
All right.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll talk about this on pod because I'm so fucking angry about watching Discovery, but I really, really love One Piece.
Hell yeah.
I don't understand. Hey, my name's Wade Bowen, right? You know that, and that's Glen Hall over there, and
It sure is.
Sean Parada.
After all this time.
What's up?
This is Star Trek Resignation, or is it a Disco Home Companion? Man, that's too much to say. All right, but we're here to talk about Star Trek, right? And hey, look, this whole little podcast feed got started with a little show called Star Trek Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
And then 5 seasons and 100 years later, it's coming to an end. And
I was thinking about this. This show's been running for 7 fucking years. That is, I guess COVID's like part of the equation. But
Yeah,
that's still
probably.
pretty remarkable.
right?
Well, 5 seasons. I mean, right, 65 episodes in 7 years is a fucking embarrassment.
It is. 7 years used to be what 7 seasons of Star Trek was.
Yeah, it used to be 140 episodes.
Right, which was as much Star Trek as any Star Trek ever got. Every show,
Yep.
you know, they killed it.
Yeah.
TNG was 7 seasons. This is 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager all had 7, and it was only until Enterprise that they started cutting that.
Yeah.
And yeah, all like 20-something episodes a season.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was what
take.
they did back in the day.
That was how
and
Yeah, some are shorter, some are longer.
Yeah,
Glenn, we know how the television works. We watch a lot of it.
yeah.
no, I was gonna say like the recent, quote from Goldsman about, the challenges of the streaming era, but don't worry, we're able to cut down on the filler episodes, and it's like, God damn it, that's the fucking
That's
point.
what people
The whole
want from Star
fucking-
Trek is and
That's why
I didn't read that article, but I was like, that's an article for the fucking suits. Man.
Yeah,
to come this far and remain like with such a fundamental misunderstanding of Star Trek.
Right. Well,
It's crazy.
Like it truly is built on the filler.
yeah, but speaking of which, I guess we should start talking about the beginning of this 5th season, which seems to be,
Yeah.
sorry to spoil everything. It's, you know
Yeah.
what? I think it's doing what it's doing, and what it's doing is, let's say it. Okay. a fundamental misunderstanding of what people want from Star Trek.
Yep.
No. Come on. They want the end of life, the anti-life equation. Come on. That's what we all want from Star Trek.
Well, they're trying to do everything to all people because it's like, you know what people want? They want TNG references. So we're going to put a picture of this like still from TNG over and over again for the first 2 episodes.
Which I want to just like point out there's a little bit of symmetry here because, you know, back when this must have been season 2 when the Red Angel like bullshit started, I remember a theory that Wade postulated that I think you were communicating a like a Reddit theory or something.
Yeah,
but anyway,
probably. I had no original ideas. No, some maybe I don't remember, but most of them were.
You mentioned the theory that the Red Angel was somehow connected to the Iconians, who are, I believe, one and the same with the progenitors.
No, the Iconians are
they're
different.
not the same.
God, shit!
But doesn't
shut down?
No, the Iconians
no. Look,
were like,
aren't they?
Like they left portals all over the place. Maybe they're similar.
Yeah, but weren't they in that episode? Because I remember the specific episode where, you know, the Romulans and Klingons and Federation all like converge on like one planet, and you'll find out that there was like a common like seed.
Shit, you might be right. Fuck. But I thought, I thought they didn't say. I thought the Iconians and the progenitors were 2 different things.
They very well could be different because I could.
You know what? I don't know.
I could also believe that like the instigating incident was, there's these Iconian portals, and this led us to you know, the bullshit with it. And given, as you said, you know, the kind of obsequious commitment to references, that I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, I would be surprised if they botched a reference like that.
Right. Well, they didn't mention the Iconians at all, if I remember correctly.
Which makes me think that maybe they were just the instigating, like, you know, artifact of the episode, and that the progenitors are in fact. But I think there is still like a tenuous connection to the Iconians, because I don't know that.
Probably. I mean, all of it really is. It's the last season of the show, and they're like, "Oh wait, we got we want to throw in Easter eggs for the fans, but not have it mean anything. But maybe they do." And then they want to mention Picard as many times because Picard.
Yep.
I remember, and then they just show that still of the, you know, progenitor that looks like a changeling, but it was before the changelings in DS9. But they show that same still over and over again. From like, yes, I saw
Star
TNG.
Trek. Is Star Trek like not into the Big Bang?
Well, the whole progenitor thing was the way I remember it when I first watched it. I was like, because when I was a kid, like Star Trek, you know, it's a TV show from the 60s, so they're all people or whatever. But the science nerd in you was like, there's all these different aliens. Why do they all look like people? And then they're doing a explanation through the show. It's like, well, it's because there's progenitors space seeded everybody everywhere, and that's why there's humanoid. That's why all the humanoids look similar. And I was like, you know what?
And it's all
explained away, and so
right.
I got no problem. Something fucking blew its load all over the universe, and now most people look like people.
Right. And Sean, I was like, you know what? That's great. That makes sense, because it never made sense that there's not all these weird aliens.
Right. There's no dog people. Come on.
But
nobody
Sean,
walks on 4 legs. Right. What's up, Glen?
But no, I was saying it's appropriate the you know analogy you just made, because this also has basis in a in a real, like, you know, hypothetical framework of life throughout the universe called panspermia. Again, the idea that like
it's Prometheus shit, the space jockeys.
Exactly. Like the idea that an advanced alien species seeded life. Seeded complex life. I guess. I just realized you mean Prometheus, the fucking movie.
Yeah, well, that's what the space jockeys were in that. Yeah, so,
Yep, exactly. I hate that that's accurate, but yes.
I like Prometheus.
Star Trek did it first, guys, but you know, nerds did it first, I guess.
Yeah. But anyway, so you know, look, this is a firmly foundational bit of Star Trek lore bullshit. Is that, you know, there is some kind of common ancestry of all the humanoid races that you see.
I appreciate that nerdery, but it's just basically something to hang on, like some Kurtzman Like, this is what people want. Because the way this whole show this season is set up, like the Kelvin movies, it's action adventure Star Trek that doesn't think too hard about the things.
Right.
Really, it's all about quips.
Mm-hmm.
And when dangerous shit happens, the people don't go, "Oh shit, I'm gonna die." They go, "Woohoo! Oh yeah,
right,
yay!" And that's, and then kind of Marvel movie of it all, and because that's what Kurtzman wants to deliver with his no filler episodes, and
and that's the curse, and that combined with like the theater kid kind of mentality of it all is like they clearly wanted this to be like the Marvel thing of Trek,
because it's Star Trek National Treasure. It's like the whole that's what this season is. It's
which I will say is not
that framing I like.
I was about to say like that's a great premise for a Trek show, but I think the key failing here is so much reliance on the almost like AI algorithmic again. This is what happens in Marvel movies, which at one point were very successful, is that, characters don't react to things, they comment on it. Everyone's commenting on what's happening and not actually experiencing it. And
it's a big budget MacGuffin chase.
Yep.
With all this kind of
and look, I'm just gonna, and full disclosure, and I feel like Sean's probably in the same boat as me, but like,
hello,
these 3 episodes like washed over me like a gentle breeze, leaving no trace on my brain. Like,
but gentle breezes are nice. It washed over me like a horde of mosquitoes. Like, it wasn't pleasant. I didn't really like enjoy myself.
Yeah, it washed over me like a wash of dirty bathwater. I wasn't repulsed. I was like, this is kind of gross. I'm not uncomfortable because it's so kind of like just so many things I've seen before. It's just like a gentle delivery of dirty water of every like action movie from the Marvel era trying to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And look, like case in point with the National Treasure like pitch, like there's interesting
movies I've never seen, by the way, but they seem like
Wade, you gotta.
I was talking with Jody tonight about like, those were great fun. We're gonna watch those with the kids when they get older. I was like, sure, fine.
Yeah, you gotta open the book.
Yeah,
the Book of Secrets.
That's goddamn right. The movies are great. The show is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I've never watched the show. I think you're the only one.
No, there's
I was about to say, my wife and I are the only ones that watch that show week to week, and it was no joke, like truly one of the worst. Like, I would watch every episode of Discovery 3 times in a row before I watched that like season of television again. Wow. It was agonizing. And
right, like,
but Kate, the point I'm trying to make is that, as with many previous seasons and episodes of Discovery, like the components are like, there's promising stuff there. I like the idea of like the villains of this series being, or of this season being, like a Bonnie and Clyde dynamic.
Her name's like, Maul, because like she's like a gun mall, guys. It's like Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
I don't like her being like Book's sister. I don't
like that
care.
Don't
connect them. Just do the.
It's a very small galaxy.
It doesn't all. Why is the universe so small?
They keep talking. Yeah, the galaxy, the universe is so small. And then even the first few episodes, there's a few times like where Michael Burnham's talking about it, and she doesn't say the galaxy or the world. She says it's a small world out there. It's like, it's not a world. There's a lot of worlds. You're just about the galaxy, you dumb idiot. Like, that's what started. But there's a couple of times where she says it's a small world and the world is like this. It's like, I get that it's like a saying, but like, no. Star Trek is, in previous Star Trek, I don't feel like they ever talked about, what the world's like when they're talking about the galaxy. They say the galaxy.
Well, and
this feels like so antithetical to Star Trek to say like, man, it's such a small world. It's like, no,
yeah, it's a big world out there. It's not a world.
It's big, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Well, and look, this is the core thing of like the way that these characters act within the world is just so at odds with
the galaxy, the universe. Don't you do it too good? No. Sorry.
No, sorry. No,
it's
fair
me.
point. But
I tried. I'm sorry. I'm gonna jump in here. I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna talk about this whole thing reasonably. I'm not gonna get another drink, but I have this beer sitting on the desk right here. So I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna try to get drunk and record a podcast. I want to talk this shit out. But this show, if I get into it, maybe I'm gonna have to crack the beer.
This might drive you to drink.
Yeah, and but sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
I just like my core thesis, I think, is that, on the other Trek shows, and honestly, like even Lower Decks, like there is this kind of sorry, excuse me. There's this like core foundation of like these are. Oh no, it's fine. Look, you need that beer more than I do. But there's this core foundation of like these are like explorers, these are scientists, these are professionals, these are in a limited capacity like military personnel. Like there's always this underpinning of like we are seeing people like operate under a framework of authority and responsibility, and obviously clearly like we want to see characters break away from that. And I think again, Lower Decks, I think that the whole premise of the show is characters breaking away from that. And on Discovery, there's just never been that actual framework. It's always just like they're quippy buddies and just commenting on everything. And like, it never feels like they're goddamn professionals.
They keep reference in the first 2 episodes. They reference the cliffs a lot because like, which I made the joke, this, Kelvin Trek or whatever is all about, cliffs and people being on the edge of cliffs, and the show kind of has even realized that, and they keep referencing cliffs and
it'd be like if you were watching like Walker Texas Ranger or like some other kind of like similar 90s show, and they kept referencing like big warehouses and hallways. Like it's like, okay, yeah, like at some point like you're doing yourself a disservice by drawing attention to this. Like,
and there's like
either commit to it or don't.
They're trying to be the action show, and it's everything on the edge of cliffs. And
I was just waiting for a mailman to come in and order a beer.
Oh, because Cliff.
I wish there was. I wish Cliff Clavin showed up in here.
Oh. Cliff Clavin would be so good.
Yeah.
I mean, Cheers. It's Star Trek, but it's Cheers. Also a terrific premise. Like,
yeah,
and like, I think what I really want is like perfect example. So the guy who's not a Vulcan. I thought he was a Vulcan at first, but obviously
they don't say what he is because everything.
I looked it up. He's a Kelleran.
Who's that?
He's a what?
This is the guy that kind of looks like Daniel Craig. The like.
Oh, he's a Canadian. I like him. There's 2 performances in this whole show so far that I actually like.
Yeah,
and they're the new guy.
The other captain who becomes the first.
Yeah.
The first mate.
Yeah,
because he's the only asshole, and I like when Star Trek has assholes. I did that same thing on Picard, and the other captain, and they made him not an asshole at the end, and it sucked.
Well, yeah, and the whole thing early on, I'm like, oh, he's right.
He's right.
Yeah, he's right and good.
Well, and everybody's like, oh, he's getting court-martialed because of politics, and then they're like, this is what we got to do. I was like, no, you don't. He was right the whole time. He didn't do anything. I mean, he made the wrong choice, but like.
Yeah,
you don't court-martial the guy over it. You say, oh shit, we made the wrong choice, but we're standing by it because it was a thing.
The court-martial was so weird. I was like, wait, hold on, like, right? He prevented their escape, and then they did something evil. I was like, well, yeah, they're the bad guys,
right?
They do that,
nobody's saying he did the right thing, but he acted with the authority he had and responded to the situation on the ground.
Yeah.
It turned out to be maybe the wrong call, but it was his call to make.
Right.
He made it, and we stand by it. That's what because
he's a goddamn professional. And by the way, I looked it up. He's a Kelleran, which is something from a Deep Space Nine episode.
He's a catamaran?
Close enough.
He's a boat with 2 hulls, right?
Yeah, you didn't know.
He's a boat with 2 hulls, yeah.
Yeah.
I just figured he was like in the future, all the species are inbred, like that Ferengi was or whatever.
Right. And I thought that at first too, but
he's a catamaran.
Apparently he is in fact a Kelleran.
Catamaran.
Yes.
He's
fine.
a catamaran, Glenn. We're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to correct you. He's a catamaran.
Glenn, sorry to correct you. He's a catamaran.
Thank you. God damn it. But, look, this guy, of course, he's a professional, but that whole scene, I can't even remember which episode it's in. I think it's the third one, but where he's, having his one-on-ones, with the crew, and, eventually, Tilly loses and it's like, oh, you're not even giving him a chance. He was so excited to talk about the science thing. And that's where we're going wrong, is like in a Trek show built on the fundamentals, that conversation would not happen that way. Like, you could certainly make something of, oh, this, commanding officer shows no interest in like the personal lives of his staff.
Right.
You don't frame it as like, oh my God, you are so mean to him. It's like you make some kind of like, moral or, ethical conundrum out of it. Like, have him be like, look, again, I'm a professional. Like, I don't think there's any. I think it complicates the mission to get moored in these personal details, but that's not what it's about. It's about you hurt this guy's feeling. Yeah. Exactly. Like, and that's
we've had that kind of captain in Star Trek before. What's his name in TNG that takes over for Picard, and they're like, this guy's a dick.
Oh, Jellicoe.
Yeah. And then at the end, they're like, well, he's got different methods, but they work for.
But that's what you latch onto, is like, this is like like seeing that difference of, like, I would be interested if they actually did, like, if they were interested in exploring like the difference in kind of management or command style between him and Michael. And like, I can't remember which season where they called her reflexively supportive. And that was the thing, is like, you hit you understand what's happening. Like, that does reveal something.
Her command style is, don't get me started on her command. Like, I got so mad, like, TNG understood you don't send the captain on those missions. They keep, they keep saying
it's crazy.
And they're just like, it's so they can send her out there and have her go woohoo when like she's about to, like, that's, nobody wants that shit. They want, what made Harrison Ford such a good action hero was because he looked scared when he was running away.
Yeah.
Don't give me this shit. Yeah.
Right. Which and like that's, and this also is tied into just the kind of like the constant identity crisis Discovery has had from like the day of its inception. That it's never been clear what show it was really like supposed to be.
Well, I'll go back to say, we had a difference of opinion on this. It's season 4. Just figured out what kind of show it was, and it was going to be that kind of Regency soap opera or whatever, and it executed the kind of show it wanted to be well enough. And you know what? This season so far has decided what it's going to be. They probably got extra producer pressure from Akiva, from Kurtzman, to be like, we got to do the Marvel MacGuffin chase action movie stuff, and so that's what they're doing, and they're doing it. God damn it, they're doing it. In a way that is trite and like doesn't feel new or interesting to us, but they're executing on what their goals are, and they still got some of that soap opera shit with all of Saru's wedding scenes. Which
good God, can we talk about just the fucking black hole of I don't know, interest that storyline, it like, just there's no fucking like for one thing.
Right.
Well, that's what I thought, right? She said like we should like solidify our thing, and I was like, oh, they're gonna fuck.
I think they
Let's
do
go
fuck.
to Pound
they
Town.
They do fuck.
No,
they
but
just
I
don't
thought,
show it because they're both, like,
they're
I don't
cowards.
like it. I don't like any of the performances on the show. And I think what's his name that plays Saru is a terrific actor. I just don't like
Jones.
I love Doug Jones.
I love Doug Jones. I don't love Saru right now. He's boring as shit. I don't love the only two I like. I think, Tilly is the epitome of the theater crowd, like kind of like we love each other, pat on the back. But you know what? She's a good actor, and I think she pulls it off. I don't think anybody else.
I agree 100%. I think she knows what she's being asked to do.
Yeah,
and she's doing it.
And she's funny. She's got charisma, and like she's the comedy and everything. She's like horny after the cute boy at the beginning or whatever. And I think that's
that was good. I like that.
That was good, horny.
I didn't like it, but I thought she did a great job with it. So I got no. Yeah,
here's how I'd put it. If she was the only character that was like that, that would be interesting. But she's not. She's one of so many characters on this fucking show that are, quirky and affirmational and have just an endless, array of quips and are commenting on everything. And so that's like, again, like I think such a key failing is that like it's almost like the Joss Whedon criticism that like, that he can't write all his characters like share a single voice.
Well, this is
right, but it's fair to acknowledge that like she's the one who's good at it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She is.
They even did it to fucking Tig. I was so mad.
that's
because I was like, the first 2 episodes, like, man, this show sucks when Tig's not on it. And then and then Tig showed up in the 3rd episode. I was like, oh, finally, because that's been my Riker's. That's been my beard.
Right, the growing the beard is the introducing the Tig.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not a thing about it's Star Trek when the beard shows up. It's good. They do that with Riker, and they say the same thing about DS9 when Cisco gets one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Tig was going to be the beard for this show, and she has been. But this episode they brought her in, and even she's like, "Oh, I turned into a woo asshole right there."
Oh God, that's
and it sucked. And Tig because. I love Tig, but her performance wasn't up to it at that point either because she got written into being another woo asshole.
Well, she's barely in it. I mean, yeah, she's in that one scene,
and like I was about to say, I get the sense that like they couldn't work around her schedule this time around. I feel like we're gonna get very little Tig. I think we're gonna see her again in the finale.
Yeah, right.
And maybe like one other time, which is a bummer because like again, like there's.
Usually when Tig shows up these are the good episodes when Tig's in it. Yeah.
Oh man, the first episode she was in, she's fucking electric, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
And
I liked when Gay Doctor played the other guy.
Yes, the Trill.
When he does his Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, and like that wasn't good, but it was different.
It was different. Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, like a voice. Just like any different like voice in this show. Thank you so much.
But no, it felt like he was doing a Billy D. Williams impersonation.
Yes, it definitely had Billy D. energy to it. Which look, again, it's a choice. Like
I was there for it. Honestly, I was like, yeah, all right.
Yes, yeah, on board.
And like
I like how he was like, if you don't talk to the invisible bugs, then you die, and that'd be fine with me. I'm like, wait, hold on. This is a weird test, guys. Like, this only worked because Book could talk to the bugs.
I was like, remember Book has Dr. Doolittle power. It's like, oh, yeah.
That was correct. I did completely forget.
I also...
He does have Dr. Doolittle power.
And then she's like, can you talk to them? I was like, what do you mean?
Right. I also completely forgot that was something that he could do. I just remember again, thinking back to like theories about what his deal was. They
can't figure out how to make it because he falls back. They did the same thing last season where like, oh, you and Michael are kind of on the outs, and then they bring him in to do the job because he's the only guy that can do it. And they did that last season, and then I thought they did a good job with him coming in like they did at one time in this season 4, and then he turns on him and like fucks everything up and has to go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right. And at the end, that was like a real kind of piece of tension between those two characters. And this season, they do the same thing. It's like, well, we have a history, and they do the same shit, but like it's the tension is harder because he's been, sent to prison or whatever. But then the whole thing is just
right. Yeah.
I don't know if I can see him. It's like, and it's like falls into. It's the same game they did last season. It a little more heightened, but dumber.
Yeah.
And then they fall back into the same like, well, we should have done that move. Remember from our time.
Well, they've spent so much time and effort like trying to, force all of these relationships, like I should say forcing the viewer to care about these relationships, when it's a chicken and egg situation where like on a typical Trek show, or really any of these 22 episode sci-fi thing of the week, where like these things kind of built up more organically, and like Miles O'Brien was popular because people like just over a period of years like spent increasingly more and more time with him, and it like grew from this organic thing versus if I don't know, this is probably like not a good comparison point, but like I feel like the fact that it is this 10 episode season prestige format, it's all like
right.
MacGuffin chases and one thing, that like everything, including like the relationships between the characters, follows the same suit, where like it has to be like almost like reverse engineered from the start, as opposed to something growing organically.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky thing. I think it's possible to because like those 22 episode seasons there's plenty of schlock written to those, but it like
Sure.
And you can have a 10 episode season where the characters are and all the writing is good and it clicks in and you don't have to. But I think it probably is easier when you just live with the characters and it develops organically. Like you can do it in the 10 episodes, but like it's hard. And it takes a lot of work and probably a lot of revisions and a lot of
absolutely. And look,
a lot of stuff, a lot of really hard writing to make it click. And other shows can make that work, and it's just hard, and most things don't pull it off.
Case in point, like Strange New Worlds, like I'd argue about as good a job as it might be possible within the 10 episode prestige framework.
It does. I have to admit, it's a good show, and it does a good job with it.
It is a good show. It's absolutely a good show.
And the writing's good. Even so all this shit kind of fits together better.
And I do think that's the key difference, is that like the crux of the writing is just so much stronger. Like comparing it to like there's an episode of Strange New Worlds where I forget what the character's name is, but the Khan's like ancestor. But she, it's the episode when she like gets sent into the past and she's in Canada and she's with like a different timelines version of Kirk, and it's all like on paper a lot of what I openly despise about Discovery. This kind of like melodramatic.
Yeah, I was about to say when you write it out like that, it's like, oh, that makes me groan, but like.
It was done in a way.
The writing is good in it.
Exactly, and if nothing else, like you had spent enough time with that character in so many different like scenarios that you knew that like this is not a character that like really she's not she's not someone who's very in touch with her emotions. Right. It's unusual for her to be like emotionally intimate with someone, and so like going from that episodic framework, I think made that episode work better, versus here, like if it was Discovery, like this would be someone that like we are constantly being told, oh, you got to open up, oh, you got to be weepy and blah, 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 blah. And like, it's just, I don't know exactly how best to articulate it beyond the fact that there is like some kind of chemistry that Discovery has not figured out.
Well, and I think it's in the dictates of what kind of show it has to be. Like,
yeah, I think I bet you're right.
Because Strange New Worlds was like them finally saying, "Fine, we'll just try to do the Star Trek that people want with this prestige format." Whereas playing like, and I from the beginning I said it doesn't have to be that. Like you could do new stuff, but like what Discovery thought it needed to be was not your regular Star Trek, but it's the same like Hollywood schlock with Star Trek kind of on top of it.
You know what it is?
Which is not it's not good when Marvel movies do it.
Nope.
And it's not good when Star Trek does it.
Nope. And I'll say what it really is. It's that meme of like, oh, we want Star Trek. Well, we have Star Trek at home, and Discovery is the Star Trek at home that's like being forced into this kind of like cookie cutter mold to an extent. And look, I do want to always like fall back on, like, I do think a lot of what Discovery has accomplished just in terms of like what you see in these types of shows at like this level is still admirable. Like I do genuinely appreciate that like this show has taken like proactive measures to like be more inclusive. And, but the flip side of that is that Strange New Worlds has been successful in very similar ways, and if nothing else has demonstrated that like you can have your cake and eat it too. Like you know, there's not it's not like I'm sure there are plenty of incels on Reddit and other places that are, you know, saying that the reason Discovery is bad is because they include X, Y, or Z, you know, in the show. And if nothing else, I feel like the official position of Star Trek Resignation is that we are not of that opinion.
Oh yeah.
But really, like, again, like it is something that like they do certainly deserve credit for. It's just a shame that like they can't get the other stuff right as well. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously we're going to keep watching this, and hopefully the rest of the season will
stop wrapping up. Hey, is Miles O'Brien Irish Spider-Man?
Yes, Sean, he's Irish Spider-Man.
Okay,
also said I was wrapping up. I'm just trying to articulate a fucking point of view here.
That was like a real like in summation.
Well, excuse me for you know concisely summarizing my thoughts on a subject.
Oh, Glenn, I've been sitting on that Miles O'Brien joke for 5 full minutes. There's nothing concise about anything you do.
Yeah. Good to be back, you fucking assholes.
I haven't heard a word you guys have said because I've been waiting to interject my terrible joke.
Oh,
well, it's
I didn't even get it, Sean. If I'm being honest.
No, because he's talking about Miles Morales.
Oh, Morales. That's
there's
Morales O'Brien. That was it.
If in the multiverse there's an Irish universe,
I'm sure there is.
That universe of Spider-Man is Miles O'Brien.
Yeah, Miles O'Brien.
Because he's got the same first name as Miles Morales. That's what the joke hung on.
It's fucking stupid, Wade.
Okay, I'm just saying I was right to be confused. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, of course you were. It was bad and not funny.
I will say credit.
Spider-Man's Peter Parker, and I don't believe in this Miles.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like they're both named Miles.
Credit where it's due to Across the Spider-Verse for highlighting the many Spider-Men and women who are not a variation of Peter Parker. So you know, you hit on something there.
Yeah, Miles O'Brien, he's out there.
No, if there were an Irish Spider-Man in the it would be like Pedrig O'Brien or something.
That's true. That's true. It would be Pedro Parker.
Yeah.
That's absolutely because it's what they did with the Spider-Man of India. He's a I can't remember the exact, but it's like some take on Peter Parker with like Hindu name.
All right. What did you like the first episode?
No.
Like you said, I took a lot of notes on the third episode.
All right, let's skip to the third episode.
I mean, I don't know. It all runs together, though.
I'd have trouble like pointing out like what happened in which episode.
Is Trill the planet and the people?
Yes. That's fine.
The Trill are on Trill?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I forget. Does
I don't have any more questions.
Do what's their name? Do they still have a slug inside of them? The human that had the host, or
Gray, I think, does not have a symbiont, if I recall correctly. But
what happened to the symbiont?
I think someone else took it.
The boyfriend is in a Picard body.
Yes.
Because that was dumb.
So Blue is the actor. What's the character's name?
I forgot.
But I don't believe they have a symbiont. I believe both them and Gray are symbiontless at this time.
Okay, so what happened? So Did they?
Well, the symbiont was like a general. It was like a general from the burn or something, and that was like the kind of.
And did they just put the symbiont back into the blue water caves? Is that what happened to it?
I'd be lying if I said I had any like.
That's what I was trying to remember, because I know like their boyfriend doesn't have the symbiont in it, but they stole the symbiont from their boyfriend and put it in the human host because that's all they could do.
Right, that was like the only option at the time.
And then they were like haunted by their dead boyfriend,
Right, Gray,
and then they
Gray
put the
was
dead
like
boyfriend into a Picard robot body.
They were somehow able to extract Gray's consciousness from the symbiont and put it in a.
But I don't remember what they did with the symbiont. So okay, so now now they're just a human on a spaceship, and
I believe
with a tracker on it. They did that at the end of the third episode.
Yes,
they put a spider tracker on him at the end.
Yeah. Yes, correct.
To bring it around back to what we're doing, Spider-Man. They put a spidey tracker on.
Hell yeah, I'm back in.
All right. You there, Sean?
I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I have such vague recollections of what has happened in previous seasons. Like, I know that it's not like, honestly, the recap was useful because I was like, oh right, there was the scientist guy who's the reason that Book is in prison because he had a better plan or something, and who fucking remembers?
Oh, I forgot the scientist guy, because they said Book and the scientist guy said fuck those aliens and we're gonna blow them up, and then they lost, and then they got
something like, oh right, because it was the oh god, what was the storm going through the galaxy called? It was like
it's the galactic barrier, which is the thing from
no
TOS.
It was like there was some like name.
That's what killed Book's planet.
Yes, so like what was like it had some very MacGuffin-y name, like the anomaly or some shit like that.
Yeah, I forgot.
But I guess in terms of like the overall MacGuffin of this season, Sean is not wrong that anti-life equation might be the actual like angle they're going with.
Right.
That's what it evoked for me, man. I don't know. Like, let's find all the source of all life, and then the guy's like, but like in bad people's hands, it would be bad.
Right. Well, the whole premise is like this technology can do anything, and then Paul Stamets comes into the not Vulcan guy and says, I just figured something out.
Right.
This technology can do anything. And it's like, shit, that's why they're after it.
And he's like, do go on. It's like, no, you know this.
Yeah. Guy who's not the head engineer that still is in charge of engineering they did that in the first episode or two. Sorry. That was
oh, right. No. I remember. But I was going to say, I
don't know what anyone's job is on the ship.
Well, and
they all do whatever they want.
Yeah,
and that's another failure of the show is that I feel like when these shows are done well, like you have such a clear, like that Miles O'Brien is the fucking transporter tech, like that is like very clearly established as like his.
Because everybody has it's a hierarchy and everybody has their place in it. But in this show, they're all friends.
Exactly.
And
yep.
and it's all about
they're all friends.
They're all friends in the other stuff. It's space friends solving space problems, but they're like, you gotta fucking know your role, man. It's also
again, be a goddamn professional,
right? Because like at the end of it, like when they put the Spidey tracker on Gray or whatever their name is,
Gray,
Joni was like, well, can't they just black alert and then they'll be far away from wherever Maul and the Bonnie and Clyde are? It's like, oh, you're right. They could just zap away. It would take them 100 years to get across the galaxy to where they are. But of course not. That's not going to happen. They're going to be traveling. They get to travel at the speed of plot, so it doesn't. They're not going to.
Right. The Spore Drive is like this universe-breaking thing, but plot exists. But
plot is
really
also
matter.
is more powerful than that, so they'll be able to.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when they were fighting the bugs, like Book was using his like personal transporter to like beam around and stuff, and I'm like, oh great, like that's like you're using that in a fight, which makes sense. That's fun. And then he gets shot in the leg, and Michael like picks him up and has to limp him over to a rock. Beam to the rock.
Right. I know they did
you
say
have
later.
The thing, you were just using it. You can use it again.
Yeah. There was a classic Star Trek of the minerals in this rock are fucking with the teleporter. And
is that a trope?
That's a trope.
Yes,
for sure. Yeah.
There's always something that fucks with the transporter tech.
Yeah. I will say, in these 3 episodes, I missed the Mega Man guns from season 2 or 3.
Oh right, yeah. No, I think those were like when they came to the future.
When they first show this amazing century, they're like, oh, phasers work different. You can just everybody has Mega Man guns.
Yeah.
And they don't have those anymore because they need to look like Star Trek phasers.
Yep.
Credit where it's due, they can just do Mega Man gun and suddenly have a phaser in my hand because of the tech, and it's like, but I do miss the Mega Man.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like kind of papering over like how the tech is not really all that different from the classic Treks like stuff because we know why, but
yeah,
you know,
brand recognition. That's why. Yeah,
exactly, and you know.
Oh, but yeah, like at the end where like my so-called life, what's his name, has had this amazing experience with the Jean Tal, which DS9 reference. They did that in DS9. Where he takes on the symbiont's personality, and he's like, I don't know if science will ever be able to explain this. It's like, they explain that shit in DS9. Come on. Like, you put a fucking memory engram on the other person, and you take their memories. There's science behind it. But he's like, oh, this is mystical shit. I guess we'll never know. 900 years after of DS9, when they're still... That made me mad, too. It's like,
well, it's funny. The whole, like, central, like, like MacGuffin of the season does kind of hint at something that happens often, which is like massive, like gigantic, colossal scientific revelations are again just frequently papered over. Like, even in like TNG and the other classic shows, like something monumental will like be discovered that like, oh, it turns out you can actually go past warp 9.99. And there's always there's usually some plot contrivance that means, oh, well, it turns out we can't go faster than the warp. We can't go warp 10 because we'll turn into salamanders.
Yeah.
But
just you, right? You have to engage anime rules. It's just like you right. Luffy can go Gear 5, but like he can't do it. You got to sideline him in some way, or else there'd be nothing for anybody else to do.
Sure.
They can't just go. You got to set like artificial limitations. So that's fine. We get it.
Yeah.
But it's got to be done right.
But I do appreciate that, like, if nothing else, that the plot of the season revolves around a, again, colossal revelation, a colossal potential scientific advancement, i.e. the ability to, like, truly create life as we know it, is being treated with that, like, level of gravity. And there's follow-up. That's what it is. Like, there's usually not follow-up on, like, okay, look, I know that, Warp 10 turned Tom Paris into a salamander, but like, let's at least do a little follow up on this to see if we can do something with it.
Yeah.
I also don't know.
Yeah.
What a dumb show.
Yeah. They sprinkled a few references in there. I appreciate like Zenkethi Space and the Breen. The Breen are still the assholes, apparently.
The Breen are the Leia, the bounty hunter Leia. Aliens.
And they and I thought 900 years later maybe they figured something different out with the Breen, but they're like, nope, they're still kind of dicks.
No, they're still contrarian dickheads who just will take the worst side in a conflict.
Right. Zenkethi Space they talked about, like that was the thing in DS9. It's also based on
they're right.
as a ripoff, and it's similar to the thing from the Ring World guy, but
they did talk about.
Went on that tangent on that podcast I did like 10 years ago.
Well, they did also talk about the Dominion War, so there wasn't Dominion War erasure.
Yes,
at least.
they did. Yes, I was like, oh, did they just mention the Dominion War? And Joni's like, I don't fucking know.
You're telling me Joni was not on the edge of her seat.
Yeah. When
that information.
When Lando Calrissian and the scientists were figuring out what to do with the progenitor tech, they're like, well, the Dominion War was raging and we had to hide it or whatever.
Right.
I did appreciate the reference to the Dominion War.
I mean, look, it's a colossally important galactic event. It's weird when they don't bring it up. Like even in what does it say? Even in Insurrection, like it's only like a passing reference, like to like something actively going on.
Yeah, that was a producer meddling.
But what were you saying about Vulcan?
Well, the Vulcan purist seemed reminiscent of the like Vulcan terrorists from Enterprise.
Oh yeah,
that show I never watched actually, but I know enough. But that there's a whole thing about the.
There were the extremists and Vulcans were. They did a weird job with the Vulcans on Enterprise because
Vulcans sucked then and they suck now. And you know what? That I don't have a problem with.
But I will say, Enterprise is one of the few shows where it's the closest, at least that I can think of, that we've seen to what Vulcans are like when they're fucking, because T'Pol,
all those space shower scenes, yeah.
Well, T'Pol like fucks the engineer, and it's one of those like perverted things. I'm like, I am curious, like, what is a Vulcan actually like during that? Like, are they expressive? Are they just like kind of?
Well, Vulcans actually have more emotions than humans.
Yes,
and when they let go, and all that,
and that was the implication.
Decontaminating gel or whatever they use in that. I've only like in the.
Oh right. And that definitely was the implication, is that T'Pol like got like a little let her hair down a little bit when things got hot.
Right. Well, then Enterprise like gives them like space aids or something fucked up.
So I mean, they have a kid that like is like created without their knowledge. Enterprise is not a good show. Like, Enterprise made a lot of very baffling decisions.
I'm not gonna demean Enterprise, because I'll do that some other time.
They're better than Hertz, tell you that much.
Yeah, right.
Oh, god damn it. But yeah, yes. How long were you waiting on that one?
Well, not long. He just said it.
Yeah, and Strange New Worlds does horny Vulcans, I guess.
That's true.
Fine enough.
Yeah, you see Spock with his fiance getting they're just about to, and I think he gets interrupted.
I
mean, look,
it's a good show. I get mad at Vulcan and new Spock and stuff, but it's fine. I guess we can wrap it up like you wanted to do 20 minutes ago, Glenn.
God, I didn't. I never said I wanted.
Glenn, do you want to do your summation now?
Motherfucker. You know what I will do? I'm going to introduce a new segment if you guys want, but I'll respect your wishes and let you guys wrap up your own thoughts first.
You can introduce the segment.
I'm spent.
I don't have thoughts. I hate this shit.
I have a. You know what? I've hated it more than I hate it now. It's not my bag.
It's not the worst. It's not the worst it's ever been. I agree with you on that front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least it's executing on what it wants, but like what it wants sucks.
Yes, and therein lies the rub.
And I don't like any of the performances except for two of them. So I mean, I guess I don't like the show right now.
And well, look, and maybe that'll change. Maybe things will kick into a better gear throughout the season. But I do not remain hopeful.
I don't want them to like make the other captain turned number one like a friend.
No, but they will. Just wait. I mean, they did at the end of this episode.
Yeah, he'll soften up.
They will. I know they will, and they're gonna ruin him.
Yeah.
Let him be like a crank.
Right.
Dumb.
Yeah, they'll all be best buddies and weeping and talking about their fucking feelings. And
he better not cry at the end of this. Yeah.
He will.
I looked him up. He got into acting because he was like friends with Bruce McCullough or something shit. He's a Canadian.
Oh really?
Yeah,
oh, that's very funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Cronenberg's performance too. He's like such a.
I do like Cronenberg.
Yeah. I'm surprised how much he's in it.
Right.
Yeah,
he's probably gone for the rest of the season.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Even just as much as he was. It's surprising.
Right.
Yeah. But look, I'll watch it. I will give it a fair chance, but I again, I'm not hopeful.
I go into everything wanting to like it. I don't want to dislike anything.
Sure.
Well, there's some things.
Yeah.
Trump's second term, I'm not gonna like. But
no, that's gonna be a bummer.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real shame. But generally I go into things hoping they'll be good.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I'm happy to introduce my new segment, which is.
Is it a Trump fundraising?
Yes,
segment?
Yes, exactly. The poor man needs legal fees, and
as long as this fundraiser you set up is also a funnel, like do it like the man does it. Funnel it into us, man. It's a fundraiser for Trump. Give us all your money. We're going to support the rightful president. None of the money's going to go to him. It's going to go to us.
It's going right to us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been established that people don't care even if you openly steal their money. So
No, like
no, they're pretty into it.
I'll send you a Bible. I don't give a shit. It's gonna go straight to his legal fees. It's gonna go to us.
Yeah.
But my segment, unrelated, is really it's more just updates on a project I've undergone, similar to status report. But I have declared 2024 the year of the backlog. It's the year I've decided, you know what, I've got a lot of shit to catch up on, things that I want to catch up on. I feel like that's like an important part of this, but like I have gone into this year with the active.
I feel like you got bigger things to worry about this year than back.
Yes, I do, and we're not going to talk about those.
That does feel objectively true.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that on pod, but yes.
Okay.
But at least not yet. But you know, outside of those pending life events, you know, I have gone into this year with the stated goal of like, if there's something I've been meaning to watch, meaning to play, meaning to listen to, like this is the year I'm going to at least try and get to it. Right. And you know, it's been important to not make this, ironically, not to make it a status report thing. Like it's not about, you know, hitting a quota. It's not about, you know, percentage points or anything like that. It is about, look, I mean, obviously, you know, gamers are going to be most, you know, familiar with this, you know, phenomenon of a backlog in like your entertainment. But, you know, I have been trying to approach it from the perspective of, look, I bought this game on sale, you know, 5 years ago because it interested me. Like there was something that interested me about it. So like, why not take it on?
Noble goals. I feel like these are. And, you know, I'll call it that.
And so, if anyone else wants to join me in you know declaring their own year of the backlog, that's I think the key foundation is that it can't be about hitting a quota. Like it's not about actually clearing out your backlog 100%. Obviously, the hope is that you'll get through a good amount of it, but it's more about you bought
all these things you missed out that you think you'll enjoy. Go for it.
Exactly. It's, I mean, I guess really, the best summation of it is like, hey, everyone loves The Sopranos and keeps telling me I need to watch it. Why not watch it this year? Like, it's like, what's stopping me?
You should.
Nothing. Exactly.
I should rewatch The Sopranos. I want to do that.
And I will say, of the things I've experienced in the year of the backlog so far, you know, it's definitely been a healthy mix of like new and old stuff. But the most random one that I enjoyed the most is Crossroads, the Karate Kid but it's blues movie that Ralph Macchio did.
It's the Ralph Macchio, not the Britney Spears.
Not the Britney Spears one. But
Britney Spears one's good.
Like Stevie Ray Vaughan or whatever, or is it Steve Vai?
It's Steve Vai. It's Steve Vai who does. So yeah. It really is. It's Karate Kid with like elements of like a road movie in it, and I knew of this movie for years because like the clip with Steve Vai that you're talking about like is like a very famous scene from that movie where they have this like guitar duel, and I've loved the music from it for years, but I never saw the fucking movie.
I never saw it either, but Macchio like really plays in that shit. Like he rips, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And case in point, like I really fucking enjoyed the movie. It was like, it's a good road movie, and it talks a lot about like, you know, Robert Johnson and a lot of like, you know, Delta blues stuff. And again, the music fucking rules. And, you know, it just felt like a great, you know, case, example case of like, hey, this is what you can achieve in your own year of the backlog. Something that like you knew you were going to like, but you just never got around to it. And when you finally do, you're like, oh, this fucking rules. Like, I'm glad I watched this. So that's
great.
That's what I'm going to be.
That's a great
That's
segment.
what I'm going to be talking about.
Keep bringing it up, man. I love that.
Okay, now wait. Relevant to the pod. Now everybody knows, right? The fun fact about the Britney Spears Crossroads is that Shonda Rhimes wrote it.
I did not. I did not.
I did not know that. Wow.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, Shonda Rhimes wrote it.
Wow.
So I imagine you don't know who the guy is in that movie.
Who's the guy?
It's Anson Mount.
Handsome Mount himself.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
There you go.
Yep. A 2002 Anson Mount.
Oh, man. I bet he was.
Isn't that crazy?
Supremely fuckable.
Man, that's...
he is a fuckable little baby.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. I love this new segment. I'm learning so much already.
See, there you go.
So there you go. So everyone, anyone listening out there, go for it. Craft your own backlog. Have fun. That's the main thing. Have fun. Watch it because you want to watch it. Play it because you want to play it. Don't feel like you have to do it.
Oh man, this is like the antithesis of Status Report, and I'm here for it. I love it.
Well, and look, I'll be honest. It colored my crafting of this project. And look, I'm keeping track of everything I'm watching just because it's me. But
sure.
But at the end of the day, it's not about hitting any particular number. And I will say discipline is, I think, an important part of it too, because I think the reason we all do get backlogs is because there's always something new. There's always a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that just came out that keeps you from finishing this other thing. And so there's no guilt, there's no shame. Watch and engage with what you want to engage with, but if you can, watch The Sopranos, watch Crossroads with Ralph Macchio. Why not?
Yeah. Watch it with Anson Mount.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And don't get the flu. The flu's terrible. That's why I sound different.
I don't know if people will notice or not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
It's been so long they forgot
right,
what my voice sounds like.
I sound different on. Yeah, I don't know. You notice these things or you don't. Most people don't. I don't think. All right.
Well, it's good to be back.
It is nice. I miss it. We never got around to Sean's Anatomy.
No, but it's coming.
I'm still committed to that.
Yeah.
I want to get all up in Sean's Anatomy. I want it to happen.
Well, do we want to announce the what's kind of sprung out of that?
Sure. Yeah, we can.
What sprung out of that?
What sprung out?
We're doing a podcast miniseries called TV the Musicals.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we named it.
Oh yeah.
We're
doing it now. Look, Star Trek's going to be over. I guess there'll be other Star Treks. But there won't be Lower Decks after season 5.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Was Lower Decks ending too?
No, yep. They're getting rid of it. They already pretty much finished season 5.
Wow.
So that's the last.
It's so funny. It's that show cannot be expensive.
No, I think they're just trying to cut as many corners as they can. Honestly.
Yeah.
Though, but Strange New Worlds was a hit. People, I was on Paramount Plus, and Discovery is not on the header menu anymore.
Wow.
You have to go down and look for it. It's got to be in your previously watched or search for it, I think. I bet Strange New Worlds stays up there a little bit longer than Discovery does.
I bet it does too, and it's with somewhat good reason, I would argue.
My anecdotal evidence is people like that show, and I don't hear anybody say anything about Discovery. So I'm glad we're doing a podcast about it, because that's how you get them clicks, because that show them.
I've never spoken with Star Trek Discovery about another soul that is not the two of you or anyone else we've had on this podcast.
Have you spoken?
Yeah, there's no way anyone else watches it, right?
I don't.
There's 8. There's dozens of us, guys. Come on.
Yeah, all right. Good.
Well, you know what? It's still impressive. They got 5 seasons, which in this media landscape is quite unusual.
Yeah, good for them.
Good for them. Credit where it's due.
Bless their heart.
Bless their heart. Couldn't hate the show more. And you know what? I'm excited for this ride. And you know what? That's also the spirit of the year of the backlog is no judgment.
I could certainly hate this show more. There's a lot of shows I could hate. I could hate this a lot more than I hate this show.
There you go. And if that's the praise we have to heap on Discovery, so be it.
Right. I could like it more than I like it, but I could hate it a lot worse.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I don't know.
Should we input our self-destruct codes?
Probably.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed. I got work in the morning.
All right. Do we need new codes, or we go with the old?
He said it. No, we can do that. We can do the classic.
People are cascading their cars off the road. They're so excited.
Yeah, they were waiting for it all night. When is he gonna say it?
That's right.
Well, Wade, can you do the honors as our fearless captain?
I can't.
I think it's beta. I think it's beta. I think it's beta.
Beta. Oh, I can't remember it. We're gonna be here forever. Somebody else turn the other key. Beta. Cuck. I hate.
Close enough.
I loved it before. Now. Oh, it's like I forgot my last Beetlejuice, huh? Cuck.
Where did I go wrong? I watched the show. Why add the music? No one knows.
Well,
and I would have stayed up. Never mind. Had we watched Fucking Wheel of Time? Where did I go wrong? I watched the show. Why add the music? No one knows. And I would have stayed up and kicked Glen's ass. Had I known how to podcast.